Shemai, Shiraki, welcome to episode 29 of the Black Feather. How are you both? Are you impressed?
Well, balance has been restored to the world, hasn't it? All is right again. Yeah, very happy, chappy.
Excellent Welsh there to start. So I'm very, very impressed with your efforts there. We need to extend that every week. I think something extra added on to your welcome in Welsh every week. I think would be really, really good. We'll challenge you next week with something else.
Rydw i'n hoffi coffee.
That's not going to cut it, no.
Okay,
Okay.
right. Um, yeah, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
including the one at Christmas as well because it goes in our favour.
Absolutely. Yeah, we win 2-1 overall of the season, and we have the overall aggregate score as well. So I think that's definitely counts as a win over the season.
And of course,
Absolutely.
we maintain our record at home against the Scarlets, which is the important record to maintain.
Very,
So, yeah.
very important. So, scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you today?
I'm still buzzing, to be honest. I haven't come down.
I'm a solid 10.
Probably doesn't help that I watched the game again last night. So I hadn't had a chance to watch it when I got back Sunday. Obviously, I got back really late Sunday night. So I sat down last night, nothing on telly. So I thought, what shall I do? I know, I'll put the match on. So I watched it last night, and then I just couldn't sleep. I was too excited even
The
for watching
better
it on
second
telly.
time
It was
round.
amazing,
I,
absolutely.
I, I've literally just watched it back now before recording because you miss a lot, don't you, in the stadium? And there was a few things that were unanswered in my mind, a few moments that I didn't have a clue what went on. So I was enjoying
No,
watching
you
that
know.
just before we came on, and yeah, you can see it on my face now. I've renewed my happiness. There was a long pause when you asked 1 to 10 there because I was trying to think of something smart to say, but 10,
Don't try to be
10,
clever, you're
10 on
pretty.
happiness.
Don't need to be clever, you're pretty. Um, tens, tens, tens across the board.
Absolutely.
You'll only
Yeah.
get that if you watch Drag Race or various other things that I watch. Pause. Very good about New York ballroom scene. Um, so let's take us back, rewind back to Sunday. So it was sunny. Sunny. We were all there. We
Mhm.
met in the Riverside beforehand. Now, I have to issue an apology early on because I did a bit of shithousery on Sunday while I was queuing to get in the Riverside. Nick Williams of Irie was behind me in the queue. I may or may not have told the security guard that Nick was a kick-off merchant. Nick is the least kick-off merchant that we know. I told the man not to let him in. I don't know what went to my head. I'd obviously been in the sun. So, Nick, I'm sorry. But you did get in the end because you came and saw us. Mark finally met Ozzy.
I did highlight of my day, almost as good as the game itself, to be fair. My meeting with Ozzy. Yeah.
Met Ozzy.
And there
In,
are
in
photos out there somewhere. We'll get those online at some point. But yeah, absolute pleasure to meet Ozzy finally.
in, in,
Met
in a
Ron's mum.
boiling hot Riverside bar because it was sweaty in there, wasn't it? Sun was
Mhm.
shining. Glad I wasn't in that Aussie suit.
Yeah.
Tell
Warm.
you that.
That boy needs some fans inside there. He needs
Yeah.
something. We also got to meet Rod's mum and dad. Oh, I met them again. Mark, you got to meet mum.
Yeah, I did.
And we also got to meet Rod's younger brother. Rod's younger brother has got
Mini
the
Rod.
best hair in the family. Just
He's the
just
he's the
saying.
he's the blonde bombshell. Me and my middle brother, we're brunettes. He got the height and he got the blonde hair.
Oh, he's cute. He's really I just wanted to do that to him. He's really cute. Um, and then we went into the stadium. Obviously, we were on opposite sides. And don't know about you, but those quick tries, I thought, oh, here we go again. We're going to be like last week.
Hmm.
And then that didn't happen. We shut them down.
Mhm.
Like proper shut them down.
I
Reese
mean, first of
Davis, I
all,
was
Sam,
wondering if he'd been cloned.
you were very lucky where you were sat because I think I spent the whole time like that for the entire 56, 60 minutes of the game. Rod managed to find a hat from somewhere, so he was okay. But literally,
Yeah.
my arm was knackered by the end because he was just up there constantly because of the sun. We love the sun, but it just needed to bugger off and just let us enjoy the rugby.
Posh seats, see, Mark,
Well,
posh seats.
But my brother bought a bucket hat, a white OSC bucket hat from the
Did
OSC
he?
shop. Yeah, before going in. So he was wearing a baseball cap before that, so I got his castaway baseball cap to protect my eyes. But it was bloody
That?
bright. But talking about the weather, how nice will evenings like that be when we're on Swansea Bay, basically on the
Yeah.
sand, on the beach, with the sunset in behind the stand there. It'd be gorgeous, wouldn't it? It was a
Chef's
lovely,
kiss.
yeah. And
Um,
the crowds there, worth mentioning as well, walking in. That's
9,057.
yeah. But and you felt it, walking around. It was busy, it was bustling. I haven't seen
Buzzing.
Swansea.com like that in quite a while actually, and it was really pleasing to see just walking around in caravans of people like it should be at a sports event. You shouldn't be able to walk straight up to the bar and
No.
order a pint like that. That's not communal sport watching, is it? So
I'm
that
sure
was
the
very
Scarlets will claim that they had 8,500 of those fans themselves in the ground, but that wasn't the case, definitely.
Do,
No.
do you know what? Someone, I can't remember who it was, but it was a Scarlets fan tweet and said, nice to know that Ospreys did fancy dress. They came dressed up as empty chairs. Mate, we've got a 20,000 seat stadium. We almost half filled it. Behave. We the way Welsh rugby is at the minute, we don't need that. We need to be encouraging people to come in. Um, and I'll get onto it a bit later about being that 16th man or that 24th player when we get on to Lyon. But Rhys Davis, I thought that boy had been cloned. He was
Unbelievable.
here, he was there, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
He was all over the shop. He
mm,
was my player of the match, if I'm being honest. He did get the director's player of the match, so we saw him post match. But
there,
lovely
there
tries.
there were a number of players who could have got player of the match that game. It was to sort of sum up my overall feelings, it was just a very professional performance, is probably the word that I'd put to it, certainly compared to the week before, wasn't it? Everybody turned up with a job to do and executed it really well. I think we did revert to type a bit. We played the opposition in a sense, and we allowed the forwards to monster the Scarlets, giving our backs a platform to play off. Definitely a day for the forwards, and some of them shined. Yeah, very pleasing professional performance. And I think Mark Jones summed it up in the post-match interview. Sorry, the pre-match interview for Lyon that came out earlier today, about an hour before recording. And he said the performance was energetic and accurate. And I think that sums
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah. I
And
Yeah.
think
I
Rhys Davis coming back is like having a new signing, isn't it? He's coming off a long injury layoff. He
mm,
played New Year's Day, didn't he? Had a flare of his injury after
Mm.
that match, and he's not really played much since then. But coming into the back end of the season, I was like having a new signing coming in, and first half he was absolutely everywhere. Watching the game back last night, every ruck he was hitting, his carrying was superb. He was a little bit quieter second half, but then he must have been puffing second half, I would imagine, because did he play the whole 80 or did he go off just before the end, possibly? But yeah, superb performance by him. But like you said, something like bringing Dewi Lake back into that front row was massive. He carried time and time and time again. Jack Morgan, we talk about
we
him
can go
every
on, yeah.
single week. But again, he was outstanding. McLeod was completely played off the park. For all the sort of McLeod was the best seven last week or whatever, and where's Jack Morgan? There he was. He's back. Yeah, but the whole pack, like you said, Roddy, that was built on the forwards, and we absolutely monstered them up front. So
Yeah.
they had no platform for their backs whatsoever. Um,
Mhm.
Backs moving forward. Yeah, superb.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I thought that half-back pairing between Ruben and Dan really, really worked well. Um, Good news that Ruben was kept off as a precaution. He could have gone back on, but Mark Jones made the call that we've we've got these games coming up, so we need to preserve what we can when we can. And Luke wanted to put his hands up and say, "Let me prove I'm better than I was last week," which I think he came on. He did pretty well,
Yeah.
but we just absorbed the pressure off the line constantly. Um, you know, against the Scarlets, which was night and day between this week and last week. And I know we've made changes, but those tries were beautifully worked. They were, you know, team tries. You know, that first try by Beard, set up by Morgan Walsh um and Reese, that paid off in that second minute. We showed intent from the off.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
really just think we executed everything under pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. That first try was lovely, wasn't it? And to see it come so quickly, like the week before, but then the outcome turning in our favour, not against us. But yeah, Keelan does really well in that first try to get the ball away to Walsh, and
Yeah,
then Walsh to Jack Moggs, who runs down the try line, doesn't he? Going like this, slapping at about six hands coming at him, six
yeah.
defenders trying to take him down, and he sort of fends them off and gets a lovely offload back inside then for the try. Yeah, some lovely tries in there.
I
The
was the
second try, what was it? I think it was about 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
Uh, it was the first sort of scrappy moment in the game where everything broke down, ball went loose, and that was the Dan Edwards try where he basically exploited that moment of chaos with a really tasty counter attack where he just picked this perfect line and dissected the Scarlets defense in two, didn't he? Didn't quite get to finish the try himself, but held
Captain
on to the
Jack.
ball just long enough
Yeah.
to get the offload away without getting penalised. So yeah, it was savvy play again, just knowing timings and the little nuances in the game, what you can get away with and what you can't. Um, yeah,
Obviously, I'm the side where Jack Walsh scored his try.
Mhm.
God, it was beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw that on TV.
Yeah.
Fuck me, that was
That,
beautiful.
that was one of the questions we needed answering because from our side, Mark, nobody on our stand had a clue what went
We
on.
couldn't
We
tell
thought,
how on earth he'd managed to get away. And then when he
yeah,
saw
He,
Jesus, Joe and
he
Lloyd had just let
literally,
him go, didn't he? So, yeah.
we were
yeah,
like,
yeah,
wow, our side, because you know where I sit, Rod, it was right in front
yeah.
of me. And we were like, all just like, couldn't believe it. It was amazing. I
Yeah.
was then gutted that I wasn't the side for Dan Cassendi scoring his try and him doing this
Yeah.
along the touchline. God, my
Yes.
t-shirt's got to turn up. Um,
I think what
but
we saw in the first half was a real combination of power and flair, wasn't it? The forward set
yeah,
platform, the backs played with flair. I think the really important period of the game, though, was that first 10 minutes of the second half, where the Scarlets
yeah,
were well on top, hammering the try line constantly, forcing us into dropouts, being held up, a few times or whatever. And the defense was fantastic. I mean, the defense was brilliant all game. From the very first tackle, there were guys flying out the line. The line speed was brilliant all the way through. But that sort of first 10, 15 of the second half where the Scarlets had
we
their
absorbed
tails
it.
up, if they'd got a try there, they're back within two scores again, and then they begin to think they've got a sniff possibly, but we managed to snuff them out, and then broke clear for what ended up being Walsh's try, and then Seneca they finished it off. So yeah, very professional, like you said, Rod.
There were a number of moments throughout the game, really, like you said there, Mark, that sort of defined the game and set the trajectory for the next 10 minutes and the next 10 minutes and the next 10 minutes. And I think one of the early ones to pick another moment was after about 10 minutes, Scarlets were obviously two tries down. They were on our 5 metre with their own ball, own put into a line out, own throw in, and Tiprick just
Yeah,
straight up there, right above who was jumping against him. Can't quite remember, but flicks the ball back, steals
I
that,
think
and
it
then
was Fiat
Tia
Tia.
Tia.
Yeah, because they had a bit of
No,
a,
what's his name? What were we talking
Fafita,
about? Tia Tia.
Fafita,
Fafita, yeah.
that's
Fafita,
the one.
who was
Because they had a bit
invisible
of
as
a,
well on Saturday, wasn't he? For all the talk of his, you know,
Yeah.
physical prowess and everything else, he was nowhere, was he, on Saturday as well?
some of the
Sunday.
passing by Tipperick on Saturday was just insane.
Hmm.
And again, that happened just in front of me. And I can't remember where it was or who it was to, but the passing, it must have been the second half, because of the way that they were running. His passing was just insane on
Hmm.
Saturday. Um, he's just such a workhorse, isn't he? And they're really bigging up his last game against the Dragons in April. So I hope lots of people come out for that. But while we're talking about that as well, can we mention the Back in Black brass band? Because
Yes.
during that section of pay that you're talking about, Rod, they were inspired. They played the Death March
Yeah.
from Star Wars, the Imperial Death March. They played The Great Escape,
Yes.
and they also played Jaws.
Yeah.
Now, I could not help myself. What we talked about last week, you're going to need a bigger boat. Me, being a dickhead on Sunday, did not go down well with the Scarlets fans behind me. I shouted out, you're going to need a bigger saucepan. Did not go down well. I also turned to the woman behind me and went, I think it's really irresponsible that you're singing a song about a saucepan being left on a stove while a kid's around it. Again, did not go down well.
Oh dear. And
I really need
can we
to
just
learn better.
clarify as well? A sort of hearty rendition of Bach doesn't get you any points, does it at all? Just to clarify, because
I like
that's
that
the
they were
only thing that
drowned
they
out.
could. Because that's the only thing that they could crow about after was how good Bach sounded towards the end of the game. Just to clarify, there's no points attached to that.
If,
None
No.
at all.
if you do get bonus points for singing, Mark, then I am getting bonus points for my attempt to try and get the stand to sing Cat on Land. I belted out the first
You got three
verse.
lines in, didn't you? I think, yeah.
Yeah, I did the verse and everything, and
I think you're
nobody joined
completely
in.
drowned out by Ospreys,
Yeah,
Ospreys.
I actually took a video of Ozzy banging the drum and dancing as well on Sunday, which I'll need to put on social media. But I love that band.
Yeah,
Please let's have them back for
yeah.
Saturday.
Saturday
Please
and
let
all
them
season next season in St.
get
Helens.
them there because I loved it. It was The Great Escape. Was it Captain Bogey's theme from Dam Busters? They played Back in Black. They played We Will Rock You. They did the do-do-do-do-do that you hear in French games. I friggin' loved that.
Yeah,
10 out
yeah.
of 10. Also felt the need on social media to point out that this idea came from young Master Rodri originally.
I mean, I
Because
will
it
take
did.
credit for that. They existed before me.
Band did, but you said we needed it.
Yeah,
And
well,
then the
Nick
Ivy took it
put
up.
in the graft as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I'm from Little
I
Acorns.
appreciate it,
From
Sam.
Little Acorns to
Batting
Orchestra.
away. You're
Like,
that's it.
don't. I also liked as well in Mark Jones's post-match that he wasn't happy with the last 20 minutes, which means they want more. They expect more from themselves. They want better. And he actually said, I'm disappointed in the second half, we got loose and our accuracy was missing.
Mhm.
That just shows me that you need more.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the
You want
stats,
more.
Sam, if you look at the individual player stats are amazing across the board. Maybe we can get into some of them after this because I've noted some down. But if you look at the team stats, uh, Scarlets were often coming out on top there. If you look back now,
Yeah?
it's not as clear cut. So there's definitely some work-ons in terms of what the stats churn out week to week after the game. But yeah, individual performances were phenomenal if we want to get back into those.
Go for
I
it.
mean, Dewi Lake, 22 carries for 27 meters. He was just always getting the extra yards, keeping them on the back foot, wasn't he? They were just constantly backpedaling with players like him and Rhys Davis hammering at them. What else can I see here? Jack Morgan, 13 carries for 50 meters, and our top tackler with 15 tackles. Our tackle stats were lower than average, really, but
Yeah.
that's because we were on the front foot the entire time, weren't we? And in attack mode. Tipperick stealing balls, left, right, and centre. Morgan Morris, 14 carries for 34 meters, which is really impressive again,
Well,
particularly when
considering
there's
how
so
long
many
he
people.
was on for.
Yeah. And how many people around you are also doing that kind of work. You've almost got to fight for possession of the ball and minutes to impress. Ruben, 7 carries for 65 meters, beating 6 defenders in the process, plus 2 try assists. He was unlucky not to get a try himself because he was very dangerous in the loose. Dan Edwards carried 67 meters, albeit that probably came mostly in that one sort of 50-meter dash.
Yeah. I was
Um,
going to say
but
Dan Edwards controlled the game really well as well. I thought
Yeah.
Saturday he was sticking the ball in behind them, playing for territory a little bit more, which we haven't done for a while. And the game needed that a little bit. It needed that sort of cool head, and I think he did a really, really good job of that on the weekend.
and I've heard a couple of people talking about one or two of his kicks that maybe went a bit too high or didn't have enough distance on. Christ almighty, the amount that boy is doing on the pitch, coordinating our
21, get a grip.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. He had the Scarlet's back three pinned back and just constantly playing like a guessing game. It was masterful for somebody so young. Kicking from hand was great. Yeah, yeah. You can't slate the boy. He did an incredible job, didn't he? Um,
I think poor
our
Ellis
back three was
just
good as
had.
well.
I think poor Ellis me just had Cassende's footsteps in his ear all day long, didn't he? I think because he was either under high ball
Brilliant.
or chasing him down or whatever. He was just on him constantly, wasn't he?
He did not
Yeah.
stop. He did not stop. He was there, whether it was chasing, whether it was catching, whether it was tackling. Cassende did not drop. Like, we know we've got him signed, we know we've got him in the bag. Please, can we keep him for forever? Because I think he's up there to have cult status with those overseas players like Philo Tia, like Justin Marshall, like Jerry Collins. I think he could become a really big club icon.
Yeah.
I genuinely just adore him as a player. And I know I'm verging into Justin Tipperick, James and Squidge territory now because I keep banging on about it. But I genuinely adore him. You guys weren't. I do. I just frigging love him.
Do you?
I
Wouldn't
want to
guess.
adopt him. Like, I literally want to adopt him. Um, Gatom, you weren't the side that I was. He was raging being brought off.
You
His
see it on
face
telly. Yeah.
was tamping. He was absolutely fuming. But I think it was the right call.
Mm.
Rod, go back to your stats. Now I've sidelined you.
Oh, I mean, there's not much to go over there now. Giles beat three defenders. He didn't make a whole load of meters, but he was unlocking the defense and spreading them and creating those dog legs, wasn't he? Just by stepping people on the outside and then putting his teammates in space, which was nice to see. Kieran Williams, it's worth shouting him out, isn't he? Isn't it? What a
Want to run into
powerful
him.
game he's had, especially up against such a massive opposition in Eddie James.
Yeah. I think both centres, to be fair, they shut down Joe Roberts and Eddie James completely in their Boshoff and Keith.
Oh, Boshoff's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, again, outstanding.
12 and 10
Absolutely.
tackles for Keith and Boschov respectively. I think they missed a few in the process, but who wouldn't with those two guys
I
running down
would
your
wanting
channel?
to run into Keith, would you?
No.
Like, I literally would not. Jack Walsh as well. He did make me laugh because he had a couple of those passes that if they'd have just hit where they needed to go, then there would have been a couple more tries. But I don't
Yes.
know if you saw him on the big screen saying sorry, mate, to Keelan Giles when the ball went out. But all I had in my head was his Australian accent saying sorry, mate, in an Australian accent. So again, they're trying to create things. So I think that's where Mark Jones is saying that they've got loose. But all in all, that performance on Sunday, if they're saying that's gear 1 or 2, then I think we've really got to look forward to what's coming ahead. I only had the chance to look a little bit at the pre-Lyon match press conference that took place today, Rod. How did
Yeah.
I know we said that they think, Lyon are quite a dynamic team,
Yes. Yeah.
great kicking game, threat at the rack and everything else.
Yeah.
But what else did he say?
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially it, really, in terms of his analysis of of Lyon. He didn't allude to too much, and you wouldn't expect him to really, because I'm sure their backroom team are going to be watching that as much as we are and picking it apart as much as we are. So yeah, he did very much just say that they are a dynamic team that spread it wide and have the ability to score a lot of points through some very dynamic players. So we've got to be aware of that. I don't know how strong they are up front. He didn't allude to that, so I'm just going off Mark Jones's comments. But what he did say is that it is time. It's a unique opportunity to improve upon our standing last year, and we got to go out there and improve on our loss against Gloucester in the quarters last year. So there seemed to be a confidence instilling level of what's the word I'm looking for? One-mindedness that came across in that interview. He's very focused on, just delivering the outcome, and that
Yeah,
put a bit of confidence into me. So, yeah, I've got the confidence that we can do it based on
yeah.
that, based on what I heard.
So anyone
Yeah.
got anything else to add about Sunday before we move on to Lyon and Sam's top facts?
I think it's just quite telling that probably with players who've impressed us, I think we've named the whole of the starting 15 and about two or three of the
On the
subs as
bench.
well. So it just shows really that all 23 players deserve credit really from Sunday, and the coaching staff and everything else. After
Yeah.
the previous week, we needed a smile back on our faces, and we're still smiling now, and it's Tuesday night.
Yeah,
So they
Yeah.
absolutely delivered. So just, congratulations to the whole squad, coaching team and everything for picking the team up after the Derby defeat the week before.
yeah. And
And
me and Rod
can
were
I?
at Gloucester last year, weren't we?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
journey home sucked. They
Yes.
sucked
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
And I don't think they want to feel that way again because they were so disappointed with that performance last year.
Mhm.
That's, and the squad are still there. So they gotta be thinking about that and thinking they don't want to be that disappointed again. Sorry, Rod, I cut you off, chick.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to butt in before you were done, so my bad. But I just want to say, imagine, it popped into my head then. Imagine playing the Ospreys next season with Rhys Davis and James Fender at lock, Moriarty in the back row, and with Tipperick going, potentially Deves at flanker as well. That is a gnarly, horrible bunch of players to face against, isn't it?
Gonna piss you
And
off, and they
I think we got to tap into that again this week against Lyon, because Rhys Davis defined that performance. I think in how he took his try and how he went about his business around the pitch, and it just got me thinking ahead. With him, Moriarty, Fender, Deves, that is not a
do
nice
you know
opposition.
do you know what got me thinking though? I love Joe Marler, and Joe Marler's come out today to say he regrets some of the things that he did when he was playing. But some of his favourite things to do when he was in the scrum was to sing. So he'd
Mhm.
sing Adele songs and he would drive his own pack insane, but it would really put off the other pack. Can you imagine someone doing something like that? You'd have to get like a Welsh anthem or something, wouldn't you? Um, it, you just would. So I think, yeah, I'm coming round to the Moriarty thing. Um, I will hold my counsel on that. But
Mhm.
Lyon is a city in France. Sam has been to Lyon. Sam went to watch Wales, Australia in Lyon. There's a very good Peaky Blinders bar in Lyon. However, talking rugby, then Lyon are currently seventh in the top 14. Top 14's pretty tough. Um, I'm liking their badge. Their badge has got a wolf on.
Mhm.
So Rod can do some AI jiggery pokery with that this week. Um, they were founded in 1896 and they were the Challenge Cup winners in 2024. So we know we've got a bit of work cut out for us. They play in red and black. So again, I know we're the home team, but do we let them play in their red and black and we go in our European blue that I am sporting? And they've had a bit of a stellar rise. They've gone from playing second division rugby to winning the Challenge Cup in a short period of time. So I think it's going to be hard a difficult game on Sunday.
Has anyone managed to watch the game against the Sharks just to sort of see how the
No,
opposition are shaping up for
No,
us? No?
not at all.
no. Did mean to, but other things took away from that today, which we'll get on to that later. So I
All,
will
all
have a
I all I've managed to do is look at the team sheet, sorry, Sam, from the Sharks game and to see if there's any names that I recognise. And the
there's no one
only
I
people I do,
recognise.
Monty Ioane,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is number 11, obviously Italian international,
Mm.
Mm.
and Camille Chat was
Yeah.
on the bench at prop, which is a name that I haven't thought of in a while.
No.
To be honest, I thought he was older than he is. I looked him up on one of the stats websites earlier, and he's only 29. In my memory, he's a 40-year-old bloke now who's retired from
Yeah.
rugby 5 years ago. But no, still knocking about for Lyon, apparently.
Camille Chat. I love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, Lyon have had a good run, haven't they? They started poorly in the top 14, and they've picked up. I think they were bottom but one. I think I heard early on in the season, and they've sort of picked up as the season's gone on. They've pulled themselves up to seventh, they're level with Claremont in sixth. I suppose the only question, a bit like Saracens going away in the weekend, are they going to prioritize winning this competition or getting into the
was
top
it
six, the top 14? They're not far off fifth either. That's the question for them. Are they going to come full strength? Are they going to do a bit of a mix and match? They've got the same issues as we have, really. The difference being that they're away from home. They may think, okay, we'll prioritize our home games in the top 14. I don't know. I suspect at this stage, quarterfinals, they'll probably come pretty strong, but who
So
they
knows?
what
might want to do the double, mightn't they?
what table standing positions automatically qualify for the Champions Cup in the top 14? Is it top three, top four?
As if it's four or is it
Is
four?
it four? I thought it was four. I
Yeah,
could
I think it's
very
four.
well be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they may realistically be targeting that, isn't it?
Yeah. And certainly
As an
targeting
option.
playoffs into the top 14 as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, depends where their priorities lie, I suppose.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But then they'll
Um,
have they'll have much more depth in their squad. They'll have a bigger squad and a more deep squad than us as well, so they'll be able to rotate easier than we would, you'd imagine as well.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see. Mark, obviously, is quite a long trip for you to come down. I booked my tickets yesterday. Rod, what are your plans? Check.
I booked tickets, so I'm in my usual block, EL5, but not in
Lovely.
my usual seats because we've got an add-on and I couldn't book that add-on next to us, so we've gone somewhere
Yeah.
else.
We were coming with you, love. Dad?
My old man, yeah, and my cousin's boyfriend, who
Nice.
lives in Llanelli, but he is a Swansea boy.
Well, I thought it was quite funny that Mark Jones, in his post-match conference with Rhys Davis, said that if any Scarlets fans want to come and watch some good rugby on Saturday, come down and watch us. I just thought that did tickle me. I thought if that's a thinly veiled dig at like the comments about seats, then you know that was funny.
I
Um,
did extend the offer to Jamie from Dragon's Lair as well, but he
he said
politely
no, he
declined
couldn't, didn't
to
he?
go in the
You're
Newport
watching,
County game as well.
as you're
So
watching Newport versus Colchester or something instead, isn't he? Or something.
Yeah.
yeah, sounds
Massive.
Um,
riveting.
Have to say, Monday morning when they had the email through about the tickets, I was thinking, ooh,
were you
can I,
tempted?
can I do it again? And then I remembered just how knackered I was at 11 o'clock on Sunday night when I got back. I
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
I'm too old for doing 2 weekends running. So,
But please, 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 if you haven't booked tickets, please book tickets. Come down and support the boys. They did an interview with Dan Casende at Pitchside after the end, and he was talking about how fantastic it was to have such a buoyant
yeah.
and supportive crowd
Mhm.
there on Saturday. Rhys Davis and Mark Jones said exactly the same thing as well. Good news is the 50 quid put a deposit down for a season ticket offer appears to have been extended to the 1st of May. Loads of people were there on Saturday who don't have a season ticket, used to have a season ticket, has lapsed. Come back. Your region needs you. those players on the field are playing some beautiful rugby. Come and watch it. Come and support it. I know we banged on about this last week. It was so nice to see it so busy. It was so nice to see it so loud. There were points where we did drown, like we drowned out the Scarlets as soon as they started singing. You know, just come down. It's going to be a nice day on Saturday, so I believe European Cup knockout rugby. There's nothing like it. It's amazing at
I'm
club
just wondering.
level.
I'm just wondering, do Lyon have their own band? Because a lot of
Oh,
the
is it
French
a big
teams
battle of the
travel with a
bands?
band, and it could be like a band
Can you
off.
imagine? It'll be a band off. Um, I don't know. We can look into that, but I am looking forward to Saturday. Question being, do I wear exactly what I wore last week because it's lucky, or do I wear the new dress and boots that I bought?
You got to go jersey, Sam.
Same as Sunday.
Have I got to go like a lad?
You
Can't go
got to
as a
wear
girl.
kit. You got to wear kit.
Got to wear kit. All right then. That's good. Can I also say as well, black and white on Twitter. Lovely meeting you, mate. Sorry I looked so confused. Someone was calling my name and I was looking around and I couldn't see who it was. And it was black and white on Twitter who follows me. And it wasn't until he said Sam Blackfair the pod that I realised he was actually calling me. So we went over, had a handshake. Sorry to tell you, lads, I'm his favourite and I'm the best looking one.
Oh well,
But he
we'll
is a man
accept
of
it,
a
Sam.
certain age, so I can't blame him for that.
We'll accept it. Yeah.
So that's fine. So we had a little selfie. But I am really, really looking forward to Saturday. It should be a cracker. If we can have that the band back, I will tweet Lance after this as well to see what's going on and we can get that number of people there. The other good news is it's a Cat B game. So if you're a season ticket holder, you get a fiver off your ticket anyway. But the tickets are much cheaper as well online. So potentially you could go, mum, dad, kids, for much cheaper price than you normally would. Come along, see European rugby, fall in love with the game like we have. Um,
Can I
to
say?
be honest, I don't want to get too excited about Saturday.
Well, to restore some sort of excitement, Sam, I'm just flicking through Lyon's results so far this season, and
I think they won 3 out of the last 5 that they played, is what I wrote down, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, 1-9
of
lost
their
9.
away matches, they've only won one, as far as I can see this season so far. Lost every other away match. The one they won was against top of the table Bordeaux.
Okay,
They are top of the
put it
table,
out
aren't they?
there.
Did they
Andrew
draw with
Brace,
Toulouse as well, or was that at home? I know they
I
did
thought
draw
it was
against Toulouse, but I'm not sure if it was home or away.
I'm just flicking through them here, so I may be
Around
missing
Christmas
them.
time,
It's a
they drew
long
12
list,
all
but
against Toulouse, but I'm not sure if it was
they
home or away.
certainly seem to lose the majority of their away games, and the majority of those are within France at least as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully they don't
they don't
travel to.
travel well.
Yeah, yeah.
And, the other good thing as well is Andrew Brace. We won 6 out of 7 with him as ref. And I'm not saying anything, I'm not jinxing us. But he seems to be an in control, pretty good ref of a sufficient enough standard.
I just say
So
as well, we do criticise the refs a lot. Sorry, Sam. But I thought ref on Sunday, Matt Carley was it?
controlled it
Ref the
well.
game really well. I thought, I know some of the
Fantastic.
Scarlets fans were having a bit of a moan online, but they got shut down by their own fans in the end who
You know
said,
what? They were
"No,
lucky they weren't penalised.
yeah, but
They
I thought he
were
did a
lucky
good
that they
job.
weren't penalised and they were lucky they didn't get a yellow card. So if I were you, I'd shut it.
Yeah, but it was
Because you
nice
were
to have.
lucky you were lucky you didn't get a yellow card with the number of infringements on the line.
Yeah, but
You
it was
you
nice to
were
have a ref who
lucky.
seemed
He
to know.
kept the game flowing. Which I'm not too mad at because sometimes you give a card for a card's sake and it makes no sense. So I'm looking forward to Saturday. Rod's looking forward to Saturday. May break out the new hoodie I bought in the sale on Sunday, black one with the Ospreys logo. Just in case it's a little bit cooler this weekend, which it might be. If
Do we go and change team? Sorry, Sam.
I would, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
I
completely
think so.
unchanged.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so
yeah,
too. Okay.
yeah.
It's
That's
whether
that.
Hardy comes back onto the bench if he's
That's that.
yes, whether Hardy comes onto the bench potentially. I know that's harsh on Luke, isn't it? For letting him out, for leaving him out. But
It's a good problem to have, though, isn't it?
yeah,
Having the choice of three. I'd rather have that than not. Um, and it stands us in good stead when we're hitting that block at the end, because I think it is all now as well about man management and controlling who we've got and where we're playing them. Because obviously then we've got a 7 day, we've got 7 day turnaround until we play Cardiff in the Principality for Judgment day with regards to that. So I think it is going to be a case of like bringing Ruben and Gartom off or keeping them off. Sometimes we're going to have to do that for the benefit of the team. They may not like it, but we may have to do that and have a conservative man management thing
yeah.
over the next couple of weeks.
I think if we win Sunday, then it leaves a huge selection headache then for the next two derbies after that, when we've got a big semi-final potentially 2 weeks later. And then you got Cardiff and the Dragons sandwiched in between.
Potentially, you've got Connacht if we
Yeah,
win this, and it'd be Connacht away. But then,
staying at home, isn't it? Yeah.
do they hold any fear from a like? I know they didn't have their internationals when they came over, and I know they didn't have Bandiaki, but that's got to be a bit of a mental blow knowing you've kind of beat them in the last month or so, although it's on home turf. Um,
Yeah,
but there's
Rashing at
so
home is
many
the option.
permutations going on at the minute that I can't quite work out what's going. I may just take, and I'm not, I was going to book tickets anyway, but I think I'm going to book tickets for that final on the Friday night anyway, because I think whoever's there is going to be a corker of a game. I didn't watch the other games as much. The only other game I watched over the weekend, because I was quite busy, was the Glasgow Leicester game for obvious reasons, because John's a Glasgow fan. Pretty bloody convincing game for them, but Henkel got a bit of a ban today, didn't he, for gouging Danko, which I didn't really see on Friday night. But looking back now, it looked a little bit naughty. But he's had 6 weeks, which other people have had less for. But again, they're going up against Leinster now, which again is not a big, not someone who they're not used to playing then, is it? So they've got them next. But some good games coming up with regards to that. But should we just concentrate on us tonight? Because we've got quite a bit to talk about in other breaking news, haven't we? So I don't want to be overly confident about Saturday, but I think if we're going to do it Saturday's the day. Let's make Sam happy going into Easter weekend, shall we? Yeah. News. Been a bit of a day, haven't it? And originally, when I was looking at news, I thought it was a bit of a slow news week. And then all of a sudden, we had Wales close to appointing a director of rugby and Dan Biggar retiring. And that's pretty much what I thought we'd be talking about tonight.
Never a quiet week in Welsh rugby, Sam.
No.
It just all falls apart, mate, doesn't it? So Dave Redden is director of rugby. We had a little bit of a chat about this offline. I kind of knew him from Clive Woodward's 2003 team setup, and I know that he's been around a lot of sports and the FA and everything else. Did not know about the PR issues and the stuff that's been released on Twitter until you guys enlightened me with the sacking claims and stuff. To me, that just reads PR nightmare.
For clarity, for people who haven't seen that, just to explain it, a few people have sent have posted on social
Screenshot.
media some screenshots from old articles from his time in the FA, and I can't remember whether he was dismissed or just sort of left under a cloud after there was allegations of him being verbally aggressive towards colleagues and bullying allegations and such. So there's a bit of baggage there, you could say.
Yeah.
Which is the last thing
Again,
Welsh rugby needs, isn't it? So
don't
Yeah.
need that PR nightmare right now. And for me, great that he's got this well-rounded knowledge of performance within sport. But for me, is that enough? No. Whoever comes in has got a bloody big job on their hands. And I think I want someone who knows rugby inside out, got a bit of an understanding of Welsh rugby, where we are, why we find ourselves where we are, and what needs to be done to fix it. I don't know about you, but I've worked in roles where I've had someone who doesn't know the ins and outs of a cat's backside telling me how to do my job, and it's gone right up my nose. So I don't know how I'd feel as a rugby coach, having a director of rugby or a performance director of rugby telling me how to do things when you can't do my job. I think you kind of need to know to do someone's job to be able to give them that insight or perhaps understand where they're coming from sometimes. I may be wrong. People on the outside can always give their insight, but I think there needs to be that level of understanding there. I don't know how you guys feel, but I think it needs to be someone who knows rugby inside out and understands the politics of Welsh rugby.
I get that. His credentials speak for themselves. I mean, he's done
Yeah,
Olympics, done FA, he's worked across multiple sports and different environments at a very high level. I'm sure he would be more than capable. I don't think I hold so much concern around his knowledge of the ins and outs of Welsh rugby. It'll mean a longer period of adjustment, I guess, to get up to speed, and maybe that's not what we need. But I'm sure he's competent enough to do that. For me, it is just the concerns around the allegations that we mentioned earlier. I haven't done much reading into it outside of what I've seen people posting on social media, but it just doesn't strike me as a smart choice, particularly if that was to then cause issue down the line. If he was to engage in said behaviours again, and the WRU were caught knowing of his background, and there's record showing that they chose
yeah,
not to act upon that information. So it just creates a world of problems potentially, doesn't it? When these things break out or developments happen. So yeah, I'd be nervous of treading there just for that reason, really.
yeah,
I think this is the key appointment, even more so than the head coach. This is the person that's going to have the overview of rugby across the whole of Wales, not just at international level,
mm,
but liaising with the regions and everything as well. If he's got this reputation, and maybe that's why they're thinking about employing him because of the reputation that he has of being
blunt.
not afraid to bang some heads together, which is maybe what the
Yes.
union needs possibly. But it's doing that in a way that's productive and not counterproductive to what we're looking for as well. So yeah, it's a key appointment. It's got to be the right person, and you would hope if it is Reading, then the union have done their homework and they're absolutely
Yeah,
certain he's the
for
right
me,
job.
it's a cultural fit. We know how niggly you know, our club games can be and how these committees and the impact and the say they have. The last thing you want to do is rub up the committee men. Um, regardless of what you think of them, they've still got quite a lot of power. But watch this space. I think it's been put on hold. Scrum Five indicated in their emergency podcast this evening that they think that it will be announced by the end of the week. That and that those are the rumours, but we'll see how that plays out. But more importantly, we've got Dan Bigger retiring. Um, I think a lot of us hoped that perhaps he would come back and do a last hurrah at the region, spend some time with Dan, see his playing days out where he started. Um, Obviously, going back, then I can remember him starting for the region as a first faced 18-year-old. Fantastic clubman. I think he ended on like 200 plus caps, didn't he? And at one point was the highest point scorer
Yeah, still is
in
by a long way.
in
Yeah,
is he
2,203 points.
2,200 or something, wasn't
2,203
it?
points. Yeah,
Yeah.
by far the highest
Um,
point scorer. Yeah.
Obviously a great loss to us when he moved to Northampton, and then obviously spending his um last days in Toulon. Was he there on Saturday when that parachute incident happened? Do we know?
He wasn't on the end of the parachute, was he? That isn't why he's retired. No.
Rod, me and Mark saw this on Sunday when we were sitting in the Harvester. For those of you who didn't see it, at the Toulon game, they had a parachutist who was supposed to come down with the club flags from the ceiling. He got stuck, he got tangled, and it took them 40 minutes to get him down with the assistance of children's inflatables just in case he fell and a cherry picker, and it delayed proceedings by about 40 minutes. That's amused me far more than it perhaps should have.
That poor bloke is now sitting on his sofa with a big pot of Suda creme, nursing his chafing mark, his veggie marks.
But he was still waving to the crowd, wasn't he? As if he was doing something amazing.
Like,
Oh, look, I've just delayed the game by 40 minutes. Hello, here I am.
You know what it was reminiscent of? Seeing the photos, that picture of Boris Johnson stuck on the zip
Oh my
line.
God.
That's what I thought of when I saw the photos.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. But great servant for Wales, 112 caps, 2 Lions tours, you know, fantastic servant to Welsh rugby. And it is just a shame he's not come. I think he's got another season in him, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I
But
think Cuthbert signed it up, sort of summed him up on the Scrum 5 podcast where he said he was the biggest competitor that he'd ever played with.
yeah, you get
I
that.
think that probably says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah. And something that also captures it quite nicely, and I've heard Big himself say this a number of times over the years, is that he was one of those players who had no natural talent. He had to work for everything that he got. He work really, really hard and graft and graft and graft. Unlike some, I don't know, pick one, DuPont, who just seems to be the most naturally gifted player on the planet and does it with ease. He, Bigger, on the other hand, just a very hard worker and a determined individual, isn't he?
Goes to show what hard work and determination can
Yeah.
give you, for any young kids who are coming through, then look towards him. And I did think it was really lovely that obviously he's lost his mum now, but him saying that the love and support that his mum and his family gave him got him to where he is, and that he's internally grateful for what she did for him. He was thrust into the spotlight at 18, and it is a shame to see him retiring, but I
But it
watched.
bred hardness in him, didn't it? The amount of flack that he got throughout his career. I
I
don't
was
know of
one of
any
those.
other player, bar, Farrell, maybe, who gets as much stick as Dan Bigger. But it made him a real hard character, and I think that's something that we're missing in Welsh rugby now in the international setup, is that hardness and the ability for a player to turn around and scold his teammates. I know he always got
Mentally strong.
lambasted for it at the time, but I think sometimes we need that accountability within a team and that person who acts as that enforcer to the guys around him about maintaining standards. And he was quality at that, wasn't he? His standards were through the roof, and he expected that of himself and others around him. I think that's probably the best thing that you can say about his character. It's his kryptonite, but it's also his superpower.
Yeah, and you pull the others up around you to your standard. Don't get me wrong, I've criticised him in my time. I have, I'm not gonna lie. But when you look back at the career that he's had, then he is worthy of a mention to say, yeah, you were bloody good, mate. You deserve to be in the Ospreys Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I know people who played with him growing up. And again, all say he's a really lovely family guy with exceptionally high standards. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No.
you know, to have standards for yourself and those around you.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic servant to Welsh rugby.
And it would have been so lovely to get him back for a season. I did see somebody tweeting, sign him on a 24-hour contract
Yeah.
and give him one
Contract,
last
just
in.
give him, yeah, just give him a game.
How
Um,
amazing would that be?
can you
If
imagine
we
that though?
if we flop out of Europe now and then we have no chance of getting the top of the table, I don't see why we don't do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
the draw would be at St Helens though for the first season, a homecoming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
You know,
Not to be, though. Not to be.
not to be. Sad
He's
times
got
in
too
our
many
lives.
podcasts and media work to do now, isn't he, instead? So,
He does wind me
and
up as a rugby pundit though.
he's also very, very good at it, to be fair, isn't he? The
He
punditry.
is, but he does wind me up.
No, I like him as a pundit, I gotta say.
Favorite bigger moment?
Yeah. Oh
World Cup
God.
15 is the one that everybody's talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
The game in World Cup 15.
Yeah. I was out in Florida for that.
You got the dancing.
I jumped in the pool fully clothed. And there's a video of me float. And I don't like water. I don't like putting my head under the water. Because my brother tried to drown me when I was little. Mark's met my brother, so Mark can probably attest that I'm not lying. He threw me in a pool at Backlands when I was like 3 and I nearly drowned. So thanks, Gar.
I had a very civilized lunch with your lovely brother on Sunday, Sam.
What? We just spent time quoting Young Ones quotes to Mark because my brother let me watch Young Ones when I was 4, to the horror of my dad. So now I can quote like I can quote Young Ones like you wouldn't believe. But yeah, I jumped in a pool fully clothed, partied, celebrated. Yeah,
The things we do for that man.
Yeah.
I know, exactly.
Every episode for the past 12 months of the Rugby Pod, free promotion for them there, this little known pod called the Rugby Pod. Every episode that Bigger is on as one of the guest hosts, and he's been doing quite a few recently. I comment on their Spotify. Please come on, Bigger. Every single one.
It was such a fucking brown nose.
Yeah. Please come back to Wales. We
you know
need
what,
you.
though, right? I obviously I know Squidge, but I've never met Squidge in person. So I met James Reese and Squidge in the bar on Sunday, and I couldn't help myself. He posted a picture of him in the dressing room by Tipperick, by Tipperick's kit, and I couldn't help myself. I just put underneath it, "You sniffed that, didn't you?" I was just laughing because I was just like, "I know you sniffed it. I know you sniffed it. Don't tell me that you didn't because you're lying." Also, Squidge is doing a talk before the game on Saturday. If anybody wants to book tickets, I think it's an extra £5. Rugby brain like no other, bless him, and plus he knows Dan Cole and Ben Youngs. But other news, and it's quite sad news, really. And emerged today. So it's a very evolving situation about Cardiff. They put forward a notice of intent that they're going to file for administration. Now, I think it's quite important that, and again, through doing the job that I do, I kind of know the difference between insolvency and administration. So for people saying that Cardiff are on the brink of collapse, that's not true. That isn't true. When you apply for administration, it's a pretty savvy move by Cardiff, if I'm being fair. Struggling businesses do it as a way to stay afloat. It allows them to look for extra investment. It buys them a little bit of time with their creditors, and it gives them a bit of breathing space. Now, Welsh Rugby Union can't do anything about it at the minute because they can't do anything to swoop in and help until the notice of intent has gone in. My understanding is that has been submitted today. Once that's been finalised, then the Welsh Rugby Union can come in and basically take over the day-to-day running. So they'll make sure that people get paid, which I know we all think about the players, there's a lot of backroom staff there, and I think it's quite important that they get their money. But it's also a way then of them making sure that they can get an investor, or they can find an investor. Now, we know from Dragons it took, what, 6 years for them to get an investor to come back in and take over. I think one of the other problems for the Welsh Rugby Union is whatever extra money they pump into Cardiff, they can't treat the other regions unfairly. So potentially there's a financial impact there as well. I suspect there's always also going to be an impact on the PRA being signed as well. So I think that goes out of the window a little bit. Now, there's lots we could say about certain things, but the reality is nobody wants to see a region fold.
No.
Nobody. And I know we've all, not us as in we, but there are elements in Welsh Rugby Twitter or Welsh Rugby media who've said that we should go down to 3 clubs. Some of you are proper shot yourself in the foot because you're Blues fans. And there's a fair bit of backpedaling going on in certain quarters at the moment. And I just think it's a really sad situation for all involved.
Yeah,
really sad situation.
I think the first thing to say is to send our best to the players, staff, supporters of Cardiff. Any of us can be in this position on any given day. There's none of us want to see any club in Britain go under, let alone a club in Wales. I know they're not in that position, like you said, Sam, but it must be a worrying time for players, for staff, supporters. So, I think as the other 3 regions we pull together, we support Cardiff now as well. And,
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
we can remain as we are. The union have stepped in. From what I've read this afternoon, any contracts that have been agreed for next season in terms of current contracts and new
yeah.
signings are going to be
You're going
honoured,
to be honoured.
which is really good to hear as well. So it means Cardiff can plan at least for next season. What happens beyond that is anybody's guess, really. And you would just hope that there is another benefactor of the ilk of Peter Thomas who wants to come in and take over the team. They are the capital city club. They should be an attractive proposition, but it just depends what kind of financial mess they've been left in now by the current owner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Rich history of a club.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you have been in, if either of you have been in the bar next to Cardiff Arms Park, their clubhouse. The stuff that they've got in there and the history they've got is absolutely insane. And I know I heard a fact earlier on that Cardiff have provided the most players ever to the British and Irish Lions. You can't lose that kind of history. You just can't. And there are people who are taking such joy from it. Nah. You can have your banter, you can have your rivalry, but I think that the reality is if you're a proper rugby fan, you don't want to see anybody fold. You don't want to see anybody lose their team. That would just kill me off, And there are people out there who point at that, but more fool them, because you know what, you rebut yourself sometimes, and now you're in the very real position where your club, your region's at risk.
And that could be any of
Question,
us. It's easy to throw stones when you're in a position of strength.
rolling glass houses, mate.
Exactly.
Yeah. It just goes to show how volatile Welsh rugby can be. These things come out of left field for the majority of us anyway, who aren't in the know. I know there's constant rumours circulating about this team, about that team. They don't seem to go away. They just sort of evolve and remanifest elsewhere on a different team. So these things are constantly circulating, and we never know how secure even we are going to be in 12, 24 months time. So yeah, it's really
No,
unfortunate circumstance
and
they
I
find
think
themselves in. It sounds
this,
like from what you were saying, Sam, that they're managing it as best as they can for the most part, which is reassuring, and it's
yeah,
nice to despite our grievances with the WRU, that they are still prepared to step in
Stefan.
these moments and support the regions, particularly now that they've committed to the 14 model. So, yeah, condolences to all the nice Cardiff fans out there who weren't calling for our heads at one point. The
Yeah,
rest of you, bugger off.
yeah, certain people, shan't mention no names, aka Voldemort. Um, for me, then there are questions to be asked because I deal with money and monetary due diligence in my job as part of the conveyancing process. Not to the extent of looking at commercial funding, but it is something that I do. And I'm not making myself out to be an expert in any way, shape, or form. But I think questions need to be asked about the company that did the due diligence checks on Halford Capital. If it is the firm who's been named online, and I'm not going to name them, I would be quite surprised because I know that firm and I know their reputation is excellent. So I don't know what kind of jiggery pokery's gone on there. I know there was talk about funding in the United Arab Emirates and being able to pull on that funding. And I think when push has come to shove and they've had to put their hand in their pocket, they've not been able to produce the goods. There was, they said on Scrum 5, which we all kind of knew anyway, that under the new PRA, the benefactors in the clubs needed to be able to put their hands in their pocket and underwrite some of the costs and the debts. We're lucky in Ospreys that Y11 have made that commitment. And that's been mentioned by Lance, several times. And they've done that this year with the losses that we posted. And again, a plea from me, this is where it's really important. If you do not want to lose your region, get down, buy a season ticket, invest in St Helens, make it bouncing, get those. It's going to be 8,000 capacity. So, like we had 9,000 people on Sunday. If we've got those games down in St Helens in the future, you don't want to be that person who can't get your hand on a ticket. You don't want to be that 1,037. Invest in your club now. Invest in Welsh Rugby. I know it's crap on times, and I know the Welsh Rugby Union has let us down. Don't let the working man's game in Wales die. Just don't. Because you're pissed off with the Welsh Rugby Union. Yeah, I get it. I understand. But not coming to games in your region is a bit like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. You're not solving anything. You're making the situation worse. So come back. Be in the sin bin with Rod and the hooligans. Be in the posh stand with me. Go on the terrace. Or if you don't want to be around idiots like us, go in the family stand. It's beautiful. We can sit next to Scarlet's fans and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Or not really. Let's not go far. Let's not go too far now, Sam. But we can be in the same region as them and not be separated by glass like they are in football.
Yeah.
We can just do this across the way of them, like me and Andrew were doing at the end. Come back to regional rugby. If this shows or gives you anything, this shows that you were needed there as a fan. I will get off my soapbox now. So this is evolving. This is going to go on for thing. But as we've said, heart goes out to the players. Heart goes out to the genuine fans who don't display shithousery on social media. The other regions are behind you guys. We don't want you to fold. There was also talk as well of they're doing cut price tickets for the Munster game. So me and a couple of mine were talking about going up on the Friday evening to watch them play against Munster, just to show a bit of support. So again, there's things like that you can do if you're near. Anyone got anything else that they would like to?
No, this is the celebration pod. I want to get back to nice things.
Get back to happiness.
Yeah.
Yay! Brass band. Do, 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 do. I'm there and I'm just like, that's my brother. This Captain Boyke's theme. And then when they started playing Great Escape, that just made me really, really happy, especially when we got the ball back.
What was pleasing as well was watching it back. It comes across on the TV as
It
well.
does. Yeah.
Um, I actually went up to them at half time and I said, "Well done, guys, generating great atmosphere over here." And they're like, "Oh, you can actually hear us."
It
I was
was
like, "Yeah,
amazing.
bloody down the other side and we can hear you." So they were, happy to hear that and happy that people were enjoying it so much that they felt like they wanted to walk up and say thank you. So hopefully we give them enough encouragement that they come back,
Yeah. Amazing
Because
job.
they were like, it was a proper, I used my camera to zoom in and see them so I could see them playing. And I did, like the Jaws theme tickled me. I can't even say how much that tickled me. And then being a Star Wars geek, when they bust out the Imperial Death March, it was just like, oh my God, I love this. I adore this. So, absolutely, you know, banging. Um, I just love
Marvelous.
the atmosphere. I really, really did. I really, really, really enjoyed. But other news, we've created a WhatsApp channel and a WhatsApp community, and we've had a number of people join in. Been some good chat in there. We had some scammers, but we soon kicked them out. But yeah, we're creating an online community. And one of the things that Lance wants is to create a community. And I absolutely adore that that's one of the things that we're doing and that we're building. So we will repost the links to join the WhatsApp community and the channel. Channel is where we can post things. You can't interact with that, but that's where we can put announcements like team and everything else. Community then is where we can have a chat. Mark and myself have been on there. Rod, I know you've been like mega, mega busy, but we've had some good chats on there.
Been nice. Yeah, it's been really, really good so far.
Some really, really good chats. And I love what we're building. We're obviously coming to the end of season one. But I'm so proud of what we've achieved in these 29 episodes. We're up to 118 subscribers on YouTube. We got lovely interaction online. We've got lovely interaction when we see people face to face. And this is
Listeners
a
from all
podcast
over the
that we do
world.
for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I just wanted to chip in there and say listeners from all over the world as well to add to your
Yeah.
list of niceties. Yeah, yeah,
What's
it's
our
hard.
furthest afield listener, Rod? Who's
Oh, I can get it up if you just bear with me for
putting you on the
two
spot there?
seconds.
If
I
you
love
say
that.
the
This
Bear
need,
with
then
us
that's not
me.
very impressive. But
no, we definitely got better than that.
When
There's
you
some
say bear
obscure
with,
ones. It's not necessarily the ones that are really far away. It's the odd little countries that you think have
yeah,
got
you
tiny
wouldn't expect.
population. How have they stumbled across us? But to work from the bottom of the list, South Africa, Indonesia, Jersey, Italy, Cyprus, Sweden, Germany, Canada, Thailand, France, Egypt, US, Spain, Ireland, Australia, 5.6%. Lots of expats out there, presumably. And then, yeah, majority, 90% UK. But no, we got a nice spread there.
That's good though. Yeah,
that's nice.
Global reach, the Black Feather podcast.
We've
absolutely.
gone international. We'll need to get passports. Um, Good news is slight delay on the hoodies, but I should have them this week. I will post them to you. Because Sunday t-shirt is on its way from Poland. Can't wait. John's now shown me the pictures that he's put on there. They are amazing. Don't know what configuration they're going to be in, but I'm quite happy. I'm going to start carrying around a silver Sharpie. So if I see him, I'm going to get him to sign it because that will make me happy. I don't want to be like too like I'm not going to mention him next week unless he's absolutely brilliant because he might take out a restraining order. And let's face it, I don't need don't need that in my life. Like I don't know how possible it would be to have that like length of distance away as a restraining order. Do you know what I mean?
He seemed quite happy when he had the selfie with him the other week. He wasn't sort of,
He knew who we
having
were.
it like that with you miles away or whatever. So
Yeah, but I smell nice, so I don't blame him. Um, but yeah, happy days. But I think we should end on a rando and a more positive note.
Mhm.
You in?
Yeah, yeah. Let's
yeah.
take it back to the start of the podcast.
Yeah. So let's take it. So haven't really thought of a rando this week, but do you ever watch telly? Obviously, you watch telly, Sam. Duh. But do you ever watch a program or do you ever see a celebrity and think, do you know what, they could be my best mate in real life?
Jack Black.
I love him.
I think he'd be everybody's best friend in real life. I can't imagine anyone not getting along with him. Have you seen
You've
the
seen,
video of him taunting paparazzi? And it's the most friendly thing in the world, considering he like runs up to them and he's pretending to do his Kung Fu Panda stuff and trying to herd them away from him when he's on a beach.
I can beat that. I can beat that. Um, Love on the Spectrum on Netflix is about neurodiverse people going on dates. And there's a guy in America called Tyler, and Jack Black is his favorite person ever. And he went on the Kelly Clarkson show or some sort of show, and they got Jack Black to do him a video the first time that he was on. I'll have to send you the TikTok because it's so wholesome and lovely. They then got Jack Black to do a video, but he was actually in the studio and he came out. And this Tyler was just so overwhelmed. Jack Black was so gorgeous with him. It just literally made me like, oh, I
Nicest
love
guy in
him.
Hollywood.
Absolutely like amazing. Absolutely amazing. So good choice, young Rodri.
I'm stuck on this one completely. I'm actually flicking through Netflix and looking to see what I've watched recently. If I can pull anybody out. Oh my goodness me. I'm
I
completely
got
stumped.
two
Go on, you go first, Sam, and I'll see what I can
while you
find.
think about it. So I am obsessed with dogs. If I go anywhere and see a dog, I will speak to the dog. I will always ask the owner very nicely, very mindfully, can I pet your dog? Can I touch your dog? Is it okay if I talk to the dog? Don't give a shit about the owner, but I'll happily have a combo with dogs. I love dogs more than I love people. If my dog likes you, you're good people. Do you know what I mean? Um, I wish I had the ADHD where I was good with numbers, but I ain't got that one. I got the ADHD where I'm good with kids and animals. So for me, it would either be Pete Wicks from Towie, because he's amazing with dogs. His dog program where he goes to like dogs' homes is just amazing. I think he'd appreciate my tattoos, and he's a grumpy bugger like me. The other person is also Tom Hardy. Again, loves dogs, adopted a dog from Battersea Dogs Home. Again, loves tattoos. I think we would get on in real life, like big time, big time.
Good choice. Good choice. I thought of Tom Hardy as well. But I don't know
He's
how good the
a
chat
really
would
nice
be.
bloke.
He's too smouldering and steely, isn't he? I don't think it
Apparently
wouldn't be
he's not.
back and forth. I think you'd
No,
be doing all
apparently
the
he's not.
talking, Sam.
No, apparently he's not. Apparently, once he knows you and he warms up to you, he's really chatty and friendly. Someone we know or someone John knows in CrossFit trained him for Venom, I want to say, and apparently he's lush. Really, really lovely fella.
I want to watch him in that new Mobland currently being advertised
Amazing.
on Prime, but it's irked me that it's been advertised on Prime, but then you click to watch it and it says available with a 7-day trial
I'll speak to
subscription
you
to
after
Paramount
this.
Plus. And it's like, why are you advertising your stuff through a different platform if you can't view it on there?
Yeah, no, it's really good. First episode's really good. Second one's what dropped, and I've not watched it yet.
Hmm.
Mark's
Need to
still
do it.
thinking.
You know what? I can't think of anybody on the TV, so can I just be best mates with Harry Deves instead?
Absolutely. He's a celebrity. He counts.
He's off the TV.
Doesn't
Yeah,
have to be off TV. It can be
I'll
anybody
keep
who's
an
in.
Ospreys theme instead. But I think he'd be good fun, wouldn't he, for a night out?
Yeah, I think
I
I'd
think
get
he'd
on
be
really
very,
well
very
with Hugh
loyal as
Grant.
well as a mate as well. And I think he's, you see all of his videos of sort of back to his old club and sort of old
Yeah.
mates and stuff or whatever. So I think he'd be loyal as well. So I'll have Harry Deves, please.
All
Okay, you
right,
can
you
have
win,
Harry
Mark.
Deves.
Yeah.
God, you
And I've
snoozer.
stolen him off you, but you've got Aussie now, so you don't need Harry Deves as well, do you?
Yeah,
And Sam's
Oz.
got Cassende, so I've got to have somebody. So
Yeah, so that's the rando for this week. But as I said, we'll get our socials up. Um, we'll get the links posted again for the WhatsApp group and the community. Oh yeah, Rod. Yet you've started doing personalisation.
Yes, you mentioned. Should get on
We
that,
should.
shouldn't we?
We should.
I don't know if I have enough money in the bank this month for another Yeti because they ain't cheap, but
No.
maybe I'll start saving up.
Yeah, we'll have to get them in readiness for next season.
Hmm.
So we've all got our black Yeti coffee mugs.
And I've actually got the Black Feather Pod official stickers coming as well. I've bought a big roll, so we can also slap those on any other bottle that you may fancy. Branding with the Black
Yeah,
Feather.
love that. Or people randomly.
Yeah, I'm going to be bringing them to the game against Lyon, and if you turn your back to me for a
You're going to be
moment,
stickered.
you're getting stickered.
You've been feathered.
my kids in
Yeah,
school love stickers for rewards. So can I give black feather ones to them instead of gold stars? Do you reckon?
do
Yeah,
it. Do it.
100%. Um, I've actually got stickers on my laptop. So I've got a pink Yeti sticker from when I had my pink Barbie Yeti cap. I've got a pink Yeti logo sticker. And when I went to a craft fair the other day, I had some stickers from a really good Welsh designer called Ellie Ball. Can you see that?
Yeah.
She did stickers of stingrays and axolotls, and I've got the axolotls on my laptop because they look really cute and they're all in like pinks and purples. I'd love an axolotl, but apparently, according to John, I'm not responsible enough. Keep myself alive, don't I? Do you know what I mean? Lottie's still alive. Um, Actually, no, I can't even say that because no one Tinkerbell was alive. I gave her a. Shouldn't say this, is not funny. I gave her, no, the chewy drumstick sweets. Gave her
Yeah.
one of those and it got trapped and I had to put my fingers down her throat. Nearly killed my fucking dog. But, you know, all's well that ends well. But next week is episode 30. Let's hope we're celebrating in style with a bit of hockey, hockey, ho. I don't know why I did that. Bonnie did
Was that a French impression?
I say you started with Welsh and ended up with sort of French.
I know. It's sort of French. Hockey, 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 ho. I'll be doing it's a full of Madonna with the big boobies. Let's just going down the pan.
Has that
I'll
gone
be
straight
doing
over
like
Rod's head, that reference?
I know.
The low reference from
Rod,
the 80s.
Not a clue.
what did the French gendarme always say?
I was just pissing by.
Yeah, or oh seriously, Rod, you need to watch it. It's the most oh my god, it's awful. It's not awful, it's quite funny. It's got a French cafe owner who owns a cafe and the Nazis who come in and they've got like a painting that the Nazis are looking for, calling the fallen Madonna with the big boobies, and they hide it and they've got like resistance. Oh my god, it's one of those where it's just random as shit. But we leave it on that. Now I've touched myself on the
homework for the week,
podcast.
Rod.
We cut that out. Nobody needs
Probably
to
not
see
going
me
to
doing this. It's very, very funny. It is. It is. Yeah. I'll send you some clips on YouTube, Rod, because it is one of those where it's so stupid, it's funny.
Okay.
But have a wonderful week. Let's hope that the rugby gods on Saturday are in our favour. Let's not get too excited. But group out in if we make the final.
100%.
I think so.
It'll have to be done.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be done, innit? Party hearty. But have a wonderful week. Thank you, as always, for sticking on this journey with us. And we'll see you for episode 30 next week. Signing
Line
out.
as well.
I'm not even going to attempt that.